Okay. I'm up. I am working that out. Okay. How does that work? Sweet. Okay. Okay, hello. Whoops. Okay, I exist.
You need to allow chat.
How do I do that?
Did you want to mute it? At the moment, you can't chat unless they follow you. As in.
My page. Hello, travelers! I exist on the internet. So today I am looking at a character from my web novel. I have, what's the word? Published one chapter thus far. So this is a dragon beastkin. So for short, dragonkin. His name is Ryan Marus. He's a student. I think he's 17 years old. So I am writing this up on World Anvil as part of one of my World Ember articles, which I am also participating for the first time this year, so that's fun. And I am also looking at the color red, because why not? So I have synesthesia, and the grapheme colored particular synesthesia that I predominantly have is that for every single letter and number, singular number, I have a particular color that relates to it. So for example, A is yellow, B is a almost red pink, C is a blue, D is a very dark blue, E is a lighter green, F is a dark green, etc, etc. So today I'm looking at reds, which are M. As I said, B was almost red, and the number 4 is also red. Which Marus, the last name of my dragonkin student, is very red. First name starts with R, so it's a very orange color, close to red. So I've decided to just go, okay, I'm going to pick this character, I'm going to pick the color red, and I'm just going to write a bunch of things about him that have to do with red, because I can, and it kind of makes it fun. So on the screen I've got, I already had his name, his student, 17-year-old, race, dragonkin, so I already knew that he had red hair, sneers, loud, quick temper, likes to boast, strong. So as the dragonkin, they are the top beastkin tribe, so they rule over the tribes. The king of the dragons and all the beastkin, he is the one who essentially arranges and watches over the I forget what I called it, the ceremony, coming of age ceremony, which I have written about somewhere on my World Anvil page. Yeah. Teach me how to do the content relation section. The content section relationships. Okay, I haven't done much on this bit in particular. So Ryu does have 2 dragon parents. I don't think I've created them yet. So in which case I would name them here. I can't remember what his mum's name is. I just remember she is a blue dragon. So, no, it's my thinking dead. I'll have a look, because I think I have their story. Oh, now I have to log in. That is annoying. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna just call her Blue for now because I forget. I'll come back to it. Anyways, creating Link. The father's name, I also forget his name. He is quite red. So he can just be called Red Father for the moment. Creating Link. So we've got 2 biological parents there, and which means I'm just gonna click view, and we see in the side bit. Thank you. Yeah, Blue and Red Father Moose, they're 2 parents. So when anyone logs into your, or looks at your person, you can see, they can click the thing, click the link to the parent, and you see this little relationship thing down the bottom. And so yeah, so you get there's the mother, father, child. So that's for the parents. For the other relationships, which I actually have a little, I don't know if you can see it. I wrote this a while ago, but it's like lots of lines between all the students. And whether they like each other or dislike each other or potentially like each other, or I forget what some of the codes I put on there are, but anyways, they are the similar here. So Ray Maruso, Lee Jung, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and he's my character, but anyways, they are not family, but Lee he's a war beastkin, and they're basically the second strongest of the beastkin, and the beastkin race as a whole, they value strength and power. So strongest as dragons, they're at the top. Beastkin, second strongest, so they're underneath. They're often the like aides to the king and stuff as well. Keep the dragons slightly, not saying, but not too crazy. That's the way to put it. Hello, Santa Maria. Yeah, so character counterpart is that. So start year, end year, I forget when they met each other. I have a timeline somewhere, but I have so many bits of paper everywhere. I'll come back to that later. But if you know when their relationship started, that's when you can put your years in. Yeah, if you know they're a spouse or a sibling, that goes in there, but these 2 are not that. So in here they count the relationship type. So Raya Marus, they're kind of a servant-master relationship. They're also a friendship relationship because they are the same age. And it's like future. So he's kind of a prince and his aide. Don't know how to write that. I might just put master / friend, and then that's the right spelling of aid / friend. So relationship details. So this is how they view each other. Like, do they like each other? Do they respect each other? That kind of thing. So these two are pretty much... I don't like giving perfect or horrendous to anyone, so they get one under that. So that's the relationship you can see there so far. If I click edit, because I forgot to click the advanced settings, you can also see, which is just down here, you can see the honesty level. Hold on, yeah, so actual opinion, displayed opinion. So like if you're thinking, oh, I can never pronounce the right Sundara Sunda, the characters that are like, no, I hate you, but then they actually love, like, follow and stalk the person and love the person, whatever. It's like the actual opinion would be quite high, but then the viewed opinion might be low. So that's what this second one is. But these two are pretty much... They live the... Beastkin live the shortest life. So... Especially the stronger ones, it's like there's no need for them to lie and deceive and run around, even though the snakes are kind of the assassins of the underworld, so they do, so like, meh. But these are the dragons and the war beastkin, so they don't really have much to, especially between relationships, it's very much like, this is how I like you, so I'm going to show that. So honesty, honest or frank, I don't know. This guy would be quite frank. Probably, yeah. They're like 17 as well, so... how important is the relationship? So for these two, as I said, because he's like... So for Ryu, he does have 2 older siblings. So his older brother is also a red dragon, and his older sister is like a red dragon, but she has this kind of, not a scar, but like on one side of her is like this section that's blue with a few kind of purple spots. Nicknames, pet names, relationship reasoning, commonalities and shared interests. Yeah, so there's all these different things you can put here as well. Relationship history, so from, was it from birth? Maybe not birth, but from very young. These two were slated to, oops. I don't know if that makes sense in sentence terms, but anyways, it was said to be acquainted. Oops. I keep forgetting I decided to capitalize the different race names. Here's a war beast kin. Or if it's not slightly obvious already, my world, which I've named Turian, is fantasy. There are 6 major races. We've got the Beastkin, which I'm doing at the moment. Elves, they're split up into forest elves and dark elves. There's humans, which are split up into human and dwarves. There's nymphs, which you have dryads and naiads. Mermaids. And what's my other race? Fairies. I said fairies. Each race has male and female. I know some of the races in myths, like some of the naiads and mermaids and stuff, are only female, but mine have both because I wanted to, so I did. A friend and aid of Ray. I need a specified dragon king, but this dragon king and his family will have his kin close aids. So that save changes. Bless you. And then, yeah, we can see here in the relationship section, we've got Ryan Maurice Lee Jung and the little bit of history I wrote there underneath. So any of the other sections under that will come under there on your page. Yeah. So content section here, you can essentially write everything there if you want. I just wrote the stuff I sort of already had before. But there are template prompts which have been updated recently, so I haven't seen everything yet, especially for the characters. But oh, did I? No, I haven't written about his eye color yet. Because we're going with red today. No, he didn't actually have red eyes, I don't think. I think his were dark brown. Oh, but they could be red. Let's just make it dark red. I'm going red today. Skin, feathers, fur. So he is. So my beastkin, they can morph, shapeshift between their beast form, in this case a dragon, and the human form, and any form between. Like there can be human with wings coming out, or a single claw, or something random, because why not? So. His scales. Yeah, he's red, like bright red. Age 17. Pronouns he, him. Species, okay. Ethnicity. So I put all my different races in ethnicities. Family, no, okay. Oh, I don't know how much he weighs. How tall is he? Husband. What's a typical tall height for like a 17-year-old male?
I would say 6 foot, but possibly not. Because of what I was. 5 foot something.
5'11"?
5'11" what?
He's probably pretty tall. He hasn't finished growing yet either. Wait, is that double? I don't know how to write 5 foot, but oh well, whatever. That is the wrong. Hold on. It tells me. Awesome. Yeah, so this is specifically his human height form, because his dragon form would be bigger. Maybe I can specify. And even after his human height grows, his dragon form probably still grows a lot more until he's about half his age. So religious belief. So each of my races, they all believe in a particular creation god, but they each have a different aspect that they prioritize and worship, and I'm not sure how to explain it properly, but for beastkin it's strength and power, that kind of thing. Location, oh golly. So at the moment in the story he's in Mid-City. But his family home is between the wastelands and the northern, so it's kind of like the mountains between the wastelands and the plains. Northern part of the plains are where most of the Beastkin tribes live. Oh, current residence. So current, okay, no, yeah, that's current location. So I will put Mid-City. Mid-City is the school where all the students of various races have come to. They're trying to hide it, that they're from different races, because there's a lot of backstory, but there's a classroom of students that are mostly not human. It's like, I keep saying there's one pure human there, but technically there's two, but one of them's kind of a cyborg, so I treat him more as a... Yeah, because... So there's the full human and then a cyborg, and they're the two humans, and then there's a few half human, half other races. Conditions. He does not have the feared medical condition because he's fully beastkin. And he's not affiliated with any of those. Related praise of his current residence. Birth date. Oh, it's also written somewhere. I'll come back to that. Place of birth, second, it says blah blah blah. Okay, there's not a lot I can sort of read. Okay, so yeah, as I said, his name is Fryu, which I think in Japanese means dragon, so works enough, but I just kind of like the sound of it. And again, orange matches with red. Whereas he doesn't have a main name. Just prince goes there. There's actually a few princes / princesses in the classroom. Okay, mental personal history. So how can I redify this? So with the Beastkin, they value strength and power. Their sort of magical racial attribute is to do with their body, which be another red word, funnily enough. So they have essentially my synesthesia magic teacher, she sees everyone's magic in color. So when I think of their magic, I think of it in color, even though most of the characters in the world do not see the colors. But basically red courses through their bodies. So for Beastkin, they can change, like, although they can shapeshift between their human and Beastkin form, they can effectively like enhance certain traits of their body. So if they needed to run, they would enhance their legs so they can run further, faster. They could change the shape of their lungs if they need to breathe more, or depending, there's not actually that much climate change or anything in my world, but if there was, it would help them climb up a super tall mountain. So personal history, so he has grown up did he go to a human school? Predominantly, let's call it the Dragon Kin Royal Mountain. So if we're going to go with red, then his mother planted a lot of red flowers. Especially peonies, because why not? I can always change things later if I need to. But for the moment, that's that. So he is known the red to highlight the strength and power of the so the other thing with the red is Beastkin do know their magic is red, because when it's condensed, when each race's magic is condensed, it's a different color. So there's red for Beastkin, there's brown for elves, purple for mermaids, I had a list. I keep forgetting what their colors are. I should know this. It's because I changed it a couple times. My world building stuff. Okay, so fairies is orange, Beastkin is red, humans is yellow, although technically humans don't. Most people believe that humans do not have magic. Centimary, their world is called Turian. If you can see that where I am pointing, Turien. Wait, I can also type it. Yes, I named it that because I thought the colors of it sounded nice. It's like a greeny, it's almost like a greeny color with like white little flowery vines coming around it is what I think to do with the word and the letters. My synesthesia. So mermaids are blue, nymphs are pink, elves are brown. So that's each of their the condensed magic color, which is related to the giant elevator. If you think of Jack and the Beanstalk kind of beanstalk, there's something like that in the middle of mid-city, and then above it's kind of clouds where the Council of Turian, who sort of oversees the whole world, they live up there. And so there's this elevator with 5 of the colors except for the human color. The elevator itself is yellow because humans don't have magic, but they like technology and things is their sort of what they make a lot, I guess. Oh, is the name covered by the logo? Oh yes, right. Sorry, yeah, so I wrote that in the chat, Turian, for you, Santa Maria. I can also show it in a moment. So that's why, you know, his mother planting a lot of red flowers around the mountain. I'm going, oh, that picture shows, okay, a dragonkin are the strongest, so therefore to be covered in red kind of shows, okay, they have the most magic, they have the most strength, they have the most power of all the beastkin. Yeah, so which means that he how do I write this in sentences? So therefore, no, keep writing therefore wrong. Therefore not expected to be a ruling a ruler or a ruling presence, because he probably won't be king unless something happens to his siblings later. Oh no, what could happen? Let's see how his development goes at school first. So therefore not only is he expected to be a ruling presence, but he is constantly reminded that he is one of the strongest of the beast king. There is, how do you say it? At the top. There is strength, there is... so shiny, so there's power. Close enough. Okay, I haven't watched Game of Thrones, so I don't know what you're talking about. Personal history. Okay, so that's kind of that, which oh yeah, mental, so that, I'm trying to say, so some, from this, see, I don't necessarily want to write arrogant, although he is a bit arrogant, but like not as much as the elven princess. Because it's like, you know, there's normal people and there's him and then there's her. So, let's write a bit arrogant and expectant of praise. And yeah, with the Beast King, they also, it's not just they value strength, but like half their culture is surrounded by it, so they're constantly having like strength contests. Just thinking how, I forget what the movie's called that I'm thinking of. But if you think kind of like jousting matches where it's like there's the paddock in the middle and there's people kind of standing around on the outsides. It's nothing like a jousting match, but words. Yeah, kind of warrior coach. A Knight's Tale, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's kind of that image, but it's like they have maybe 4 of them a year where it's their kind of main strength contest, which, yeah, they go in and battle each other. Each of the beast can have different abilities because they're different types of beast. So dragon and war beast are pretty much like very bodily strength dominated, whereas the rabbits are a lot faster and they might bite more, whereas the frogs have poison and different body manipulation, like extra to other beast kin. They like can use more bone stuff, which, because they weren't forbidden because they're frogs. Yeah, there's a whole thing called forbidden. That's just a word. And that means so a magic can be forbidden from the world. Basically, like a law of the world can be taken away. So with the beastkin, their magic is kind of, it's very kind of Swiss cheesy, but possibly like the holes in the Swiss cheese as opposed to the actual cheese. Yeah, in terms of their magic, because a lot of it has been forbidden, like back in the day, and this world has gone on for like a few, I think it's like 14,000 years or something. So yeah, things like being able to manipulate other people using their blood and muscles and stuff, that used to be a thing that beastkin could do, but it has since been forbidden. So now they can only change their own body. For the most part, I'm sure I will find loopholes if I need to. Because that's also the thing with forbidden magic, is it's like, okay, we forbid this, and it's basically specific to a certain thing. So if they say, okay, we forbid, like in Avatar they call it bloodbending, like bloodbending within a 3-meter radius, if someone is powerful enough to do a 4-meter radius, they could do that. The person just have to roll to 3 meters and then they're fine, but still. Other types of forbidden magic. So for the mermaids, one of the things they used to be able to do was they could lock someone's memories into like a pearl and hide them at the bottom of the ocean. They can't do that anymore. So they can't like change memories and things. Although the other thing with forbidden magic is though, so for example, one of the fairies, so Aunt May, she is the oldest fairy. She's one of the original, like she helped create the world with the creator, essentially. But she does not remember a lot of the first few hundred years of life because some things happened there that all memories of that were either erased or some of the things were forbidden as well. So any of the forbidden magic that happened in the past it doesn't stop that from happening in the past. So if someone's memory was erased and then the erasation forbidden magic happened afterwards, they still couldn't get those memories back. Yeah, unless it was like a specific, like if it was locked away, they could still unlock it kind of thing. But they don't just instantly get their memories back. So there is actually like 2 places in Turian where you can see some of the old forbidden magics. Because they were done beforehand. And so those 2 have to do with sort of a time thing, and that comes up with the couple of my naiads and the half fairy. Couple of the half fairies, they are able to interact with that because of their unique characteristics. But like, essentially there's a fairy graveyard, and that's about the 2nd generation of the fairies, that a lot of the knowledge has been forbidden there. There's also the code, which was written by humans before they collected themselves, when humans used to be kind of just subsidiaries of each of the different races. And then they started coming together and they formed this code, and something to do with that is why the dwarves became a thing. But any knowledge to do with the code has been forbidden, except for in the compass, which is in one of the Dark Elves towns. There's a compass where you can go inside of it, and essentially it takes you out of time or out of the realm. So when you're outside of that, you can actually read up. There's kind of like a library of all the forbidden magics. And so you can read all the stuff in there, but you can't, when you come back, because you're coming back into the time, you forget all the things from there, but you do remember like how you felt and any of other things that you thought that. Yeah, so if you went in there, read a particular magic, and then in your head you thought, oh, that's very similar to these other 3 things that I can do, when you come back out, you still remember the 3 things that it's similar to, kind of thing. Yes. Yeah, so the particular Pearl one, yes, I did write a short story, which is on my Wattpad, about a mermaid. She's a half mermaid that, got her memories trapped in a pearl, and she ends up finding the pearl, and there's something about her twin sister. I'm not sure the story makes sense, but yeah, for the case of, in the case of the pearls, you can re-access them. Can someone else that is not the original owner access them? possibly some of them. I have a feeling that would be like with the memories thing, that was sort of a few different levels of forbidden magic. Or forbidding. So there might be like some of the really old ones that anyone could access, but then sort of the later ones, only the person whose memories it was they could access. Yeah. Those things, those powerful, this a bit. I'm expecting of praise as well as, I'm trying to say, he's not good at listening to others, and he has a temper.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going back to my dragon. To others that have not shown superior strength. Basically, there's not that many who are actually stronger than him that he has met. There's probably a few other characters, like some of the elves and some of the other races that are stronger, but they're also much older generations, and he's just like tiny compared to them. Some random pearl diver accidentally. See that? Oh, accidentally discovering the secrets of the universe or anything. Yeah, that would be really fun to write something about that. That's pretty funny. Listening to others that have not shown superior strength. So I think, would he have gone to a human school at some point with Lee? Maybe not, because he felt it was beneath him, probably. A lot of the Beastkin do go to a human school. So in terms of schools, humans are the only one that have a particular school. Beastkin do sort of have their own thing, but they also merge with some of the human stuff every so often. It's kind of up to the people themselves. Elves would have their own thing, but that's a lot more kind of related to a library and reading and like apprentice master type thing. Mermaids just run around and have fun. Nymphs are also kind of running around and have fun, but they're kind of like the innocent children of the realm. Fairies stick to themselves, especially after what happened to the second generation of fairies. And a few other things, like the previous incident that this story starts on the backhand, or like on the just after, is that some fairies were captured by some humans and experimented on because humans were trying to find the source of magic. So a few things have happened that fairies have basically isolated themselves within the forest. And then elves have, like, they call it a watch or something, and dryads. So nymphs, naiads and dryads. So dryads are the trees, naiads are the streams, and water and stuff. Yeah. And I have, like, in my class, there's a couple of 15-year-old, I think of them as twins, though they're not actually related, but one is a dryad, one is a naiad. Yeah. They basically act like twins, and they have a special power which they share between them. Basically, they can sort of see the past and the future. As it gets closer to their own time, it gets quite fuzzy. But they sort of, like, inherently know some things, even if they don't know how it will turn out. So they kind of giggle a lot and are very disruptive. And being naiads and dryads are not used to sit in a classroom restricted in any way they are not used to, so they cause a bit of trouble for my teacher. Yeah. Okay, so I think for personal history, we'll leave that at the moment. Gender identity, that's not really an issue. Education, mental trauma. Okay, so I actually have something for this, which I'd sort of forgotten about. I don't know if it's mental trauma, but so, as I said, Ryu has not met many others Who was stronger than him? So actually his older brother, I don't know if he's super strong or... Anyways, his older brother is definitely stronger than him. There is no doubt he will be the next king, unless some author decides to kill him off for some strange reason. So he is what's the word, in awe of his brother? He looks up to his brother. Yeah, so Ryo facing absolute defeat. Yeah, actually this what I'm about writing is not him but his brother facing defeat from a half-human, which shocks him a lot. And then when he finds out that, spoiler, sort of, that half-human ends up being his teacher, that will cause some issues, provided I can write them well. So I really need to rename the strength contest, but anyways, for the moment, that is what it is. Okay, strength contest. Was by far in the lead. Wait, half human. And defeated him. And defeated the brother. How do I say? Not without remorse, but like definitely like without doubt. I'll just leave it as defeated the brother. This crushed rival. Crushed. And about to challenge and defeat that person if he ever met them again. Basically he figured he'd go out and search for that person at some point, but I mean it is a large country with a lot of people, and being half human they could die at any time, is his thinking. So cue the teacher of his class. She was that. She's half fairy, so she can use effectively gravity magic, hence why she could actually defeat him, because by strength-wise she herself is not that strong, but because she can use the air around her, she can basically like use the wind to dodge or move the attacker's movement away from her, and then kind of like gravity to squish him. So the Turian Council, benevolent or malevolent, so they are meant to be a neutral party. They're effectively, so they're the ones who forbid magic. But there have been world wars. They haven't stopped them, but they haven't necessarily started them either. Yeah, so they sort of rotate through different people. So there's at least one person of each race is on the council. then they do have a bunch of other aides and librarians all throughout the world as well. Well, technically they're knowledge officers, and they're kind of like spy librarians or something. So they try and keep the council itself as neutral as possible, and it's kind of like it's not a ruling authority, but it's like I mean, it kind of is, but it's like that each group is allowed to rule themselves however they want. Like, the council doesn't necessarily step into how things are run. They're kind of like the final end say if something needs to be said. So after wars, for example, they may forbid a bunch of magic because they're going, okay, that was too much damage. Or if one side is ridiculously up on another or something. So for the start of this story where I start my writing, the Council of Turian are the ones who mandated that this classroom be set so that humans, because they're mandating that humans cannot research any further than they already have unless they have an interracial research team. So a team of researchers that has at least one of every single race to try and stop things like the kidnapping and killing of fairies. Yeah. So Q, the teacher of that class, she was that half human. Broke his brother. So obviously his brother would have been very upset being crushed by a half human, but at the same time, he also knew that he isn't fully grown yet, and so basically decides to just get stronger so it doesn't happen again. Whereas Ryu's very much like, I need to not exactly revenge on that person, because with the beast kind of thing, like, so he wants to challenge them and defeat them to kind of bring back the honor of being the strongest. That then in. Okay, she was that half human and break it. Oh, she. She's also half fairy. This is. Yeah, so fairy magic predominantly deals with kind of the air. Human symbol when the fairies must have started it. Fake news. So, yeah, there are a few rumours around Aunt Me, because she is the only original, I say original character, she's the only person alive who was there when Turian was created. However, she's forgotten a lot of it. Some people think she's just old, but it probably has a lot more to do with various magics and forbidding things. And probably post-traumatic stress disorder, let's be honest here. A lot of stuff happened. Captain. Yeah, so, I mean, the council is kind of, they're sort of in everything, but they're also sort of a step back from everything. Yeah, so, basically, yeah, individual species are autonomous, and some overarching mandates, basically. I'm like, I started this story and I'm like, oh, it's pretty and colourful, and I'm going to have a teacher and these kids, and then it's like, oh, and there's all these people, and then as I start writing, I'm like, oh, and look at this dark parse, and here's another dark ribbon, and here's some other dark stuff, and I'm like, I see. It's like, you know how sometimes they talk about looking at an embroidery, and then you turn the other side, and you can see. Mum hates that analogy because she's like, you have to make the back as pretty as the front. But sometimes you look at it and it's super messy. But I feel like, you know, my front's super colourful. You turn it around and then it's like so many dark colours and all sorts of things in the background. And it's like, well, I wasn't expecting this, but anyways. Kind of like the Holy Rope and Empire above, but don't interfere much I can't exactly say yes or no to that because I only know so much and I forget a lot of history stuff. It's like interesting, but I forget. I mean, even stuff that I love, like I research dragons all the time and I forget most of what I research too, so I don't know. So yeah. As you can see, I've forgotten like so many things about my story already. Thankfully, I have them written down somewhere so I can find them. But yeah, that's also where World Anvil is really great because it does have a lot of the different things on there, like timelines. I have the basic timeline, and so like when the world started, when my story starts, when the world wars were. Well, I say world wars, but they're more magic wars. Humans weren't as involved, or they were just kind of used as cannon fodder. Yeah, or messengers or something, but even then... Oh yeah, that's right. there was another race, or part race. One of the Beastkin tribes does not effectively exist anymore, but they sort of do, but that's kind of a spoiler, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Shows able to move it, dodge attacks with wind. Oh yeah, so that's the other thing with fairies. Their magic is air and stuff. So not only can they use like wind and create thunderstorms and things like that, but they also things like electricity. So my teacher, her adoptive father is not super high up, but probably middle, I guess, of a phone company. So she will often somehow he gets given prototypes that don't work and she gets to keep them, and she basically keeps them working with her magic, and she kind of has like, you know how in Google we have cloud storage? She basically like literally uses the air around her as storage for her phone and everything, so yeah, I just find it really interesting and fun, so she does that. Oh, whoops, gravity. Barella becomes a headache for, what is her name? Miss Magenta Charles. Yeah, so if you add things in here, you're basically linking the article. So as I oh, I should put that here. Teacher class Magenta Charles. Here comes a headache for Miss Charles. Constantly refute. Not suggestions, demands. Demands for a challenge. Okay, everyone speaks the same language in my thing. It makes it easier for me. And being able to have that many students of different races in a class, yeah. What? Guessing Turian would be similar, or what, to the Independent? Just say it aloud.
The above comment.
Yeah, I suppose. As far as I'm aware, yes. Somehow I turned that back into my teacher rant instead of Ryu. Anyways. Okay, I'm just going to save this. So with the... what are they called? So I'll view this again. Yeah, with the sections underneath that I was filling out, they basically auto come up with their own titles. So you can actually make your own titles through the thing, or you can through the first section, like there's options for different headers, or you can just write underneath each of the template prompts and it comes up with the headers automatically. Yeah. So edit person back again. Back to templates. It takes a minute to load, like every time I change a page on here. And it looks like I clicked something. Maximize, unmaximize, cool. That's what that does. Until physical. General physical description. Okay, so got human form. Just vaguely typical. Oh, not really. So just like, it just has red hair. Do I have... I don't sort of have a set image from somewhere else that is similar to... My Pinterest has a few different ideas. Anyways, for now, human form is red hair. Oh no, physical condition, sorry, body features. I think that goes in there. Wait, I've already said he has red hair, so I actually don't need that. Fitness, agility, body shape, AIDS, abnormality, illnesses, affections. Like, he's pretty healthy. Beastkin don't... Like, most of the magical races don't really get normal sickness. Because they can kind of magically fix it. And with Beastkin, probably like things like broken bones and stuff like that, they can pretty quickly fix. Although they might still be exhausted after fixing it because magic. They don't have like unlimited magic. Yeah, kind of a little bit depends what's in there around them, but yeah. The dragons have more magic than the other beastkin types, so Ryu hasn't really had an instance where he's been out of magic so far. Except when he kind of goes into berserker mode. I almost forgot about that. Because that happens, or will happen. Berserker mode, so... Well, I like... No, sorry, there was one he uses. So, I'm just thinking, particularly there's one instance in human form. Wrap around him. And... like some of his beast stuff comes a thing. Let's just write this for now. Some of his Dragon King attributes. will appear. Which is funny because I actually imagine, like, as this magic wraps around him, it's actually orange. Or more orange. Not because he's any type part fairy, but just because it's not like the sort of pure dragon magic. It's just kind of like he's basically out of control. And that's one of the things he's going to have to learn in the story, is how to control it, in which case then it will be... he'll be able to wrap it around himself and it will be actually red. So I guess I think orange in terms of like a fainter red. Which could be pink, I suppose, but... again, pink's kind of like, you add white to it. Whereas orange kind of makes sense because all of them have a human form. And so if it's, and human is yellow. So if it's yellow with red, because, so humans do actually have magic, which my teacher can see. Miss Charles can see that. She will have to convince everyone else that it exists. Or convince those who know that it exists that it's important to tell everyone else. Yeah, so every character also has a human form, which seems odd if humans had no magic kind of thing, but basically human magic is sort of like the analysis, breakdown and build up of things. So that's gonna come into the story about how all that works. So how much I should say, yes. But essentially, it makes sense then for him for Ryo at the moment when he goes into berserker mode that the magic around him is orange. Yep. And eventually when he takes control of it, it will be fully red. Although still transparent, but yeah, transparent. Up here, so... for want of a better word, we're just going to use activates for the moment. However, full control. So yeah, so you know I'm talking about why it's orange right now. This is actually like literally me world building in my head. Why is it orange? The fact that it's human yellow for now when he's out of control, that actually makes a lot of sense with some of the other stuff that I've put in there. So yeah, so it'll be pretty cool. Eventually when I end up writing all of this stuff into the story, it'll be great. Once he gains full control. He'll also be able to functions of his body. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Apparel and accessories. He possibly does have a necklace, I think. With pointy. Very descriptive self. Very descriptive. Specialized equipment. He does not need equipment. So special abilities. This is basically where I've been putting the beastkin racial magic. Or just the magic of anyone. So shapeshift. What did I say? So shapeshift, muscle manipulation. So self generation abilities. Temperature control. I mean, most of them in their human form can basically choose their own colors of hair and eyes and things like that. Which sort of fits in the body manipulation. I don't know if that actually explains what I'm trying to say, but anyways. Oh yeah, that's right, again, roar. Dragon roar, which has some dragon attributes that I will eventually define. And he can fly, being a dragon. Yeah, I guess that's the name of everything. Cool. So for now, that's pretty good. Those 20 pages. Where can I put that? Yeah, he's probably one of the loudest students in the classroom. B. I don't think this is actually the right place to put this. Identifying features. Mental. I'll leave that for now. Motivation. Okay, so why did I have him in the classroom? So I need to actually write an article about the all races classroom. It's alright to be in the all races classroom. Wait, I think I can. Quick content creation. Article template to rebuilding character conflict with this. It's gonna be a generic article. For now. Create article. To stop humans trying anything again. So likes and dislikes. So here's something I was thinking about with the whole synesthesia color red thing. Basically, I was like, okay, well, red, favorite foods. So his favorite food is tomatoes because they are red. Now it could be something different like strawberries, but there's probably a few characters that would have a color red as their main color, so the other thing that I went with this is tomatoes because it is a fantasy world, and so this is kind of how my brain sort of thinks. It's like, okay, yeah, red food, tomatoes. Oh, okay, is there tomatoes in the world? Yes, probably most, if not all, the fruit, vegetables, herbs that we have in this world will be in their world. The meat is different. So they don't have things like cows and sheep. They don't have pets like cats and dogs. So the meat that they do have sea food. However, because it is another land, they could have sea cows that are very similar to actual beef, not the what our sea cows are. So yeah, they could have a lot of various seafoods that are different types of meat, as opposed to when we say seafood, it's kind of seafood's like this set of things, whereas for them that's basically their meat selection, which the mermaids are quite good at, and the humans up north have a whole fishing thing going on, and then the mermaids also have a lot of trade with everyone for yeah, because they're kind of the ones who rule the ocean. Yeah, so me going, okay, what's his favorite food, kind of led to me thinking about there must be a division of mermaid farmers. Which is fun. Title, Serene Wealth. That's all I can think about at the moment. Okay, so sections, footer, section header. Oh, wait. Side by top. Title thing. Ship design. So image cover for all the Beastkin stuff at the moment. I don't yet have a sketch of Ryu, but this is basically so my teacher, as I said, she can see magic in colors. That's her type of synesthesia. Because part fairies can normally feel magic to a certain extent, because their magic's to do with air, and so they can kind of something to do with that. They can basically feel other people's magic. And so when the teacher walks in and says, like, as you can tell, there's all these different races there, half the students are like, what are you talking about? But the fairy's like, yeah, I can feel that there's different types of magic. Although he's pretty quiet, so he doesn't actually say anything. He probably says it in his head, but she has not yet worked out that fairies have telepathy and how to work that out. Which, if I can make it funny, I would like to, but I'm not sure I can, so we'll see how that works. So yeah, so basically this is a dragon's roar, is what Miss Charles, the teacher, sees. So for Ryu, it's probably not his roar, but at the moment for all the Beastkin, I have this picture as the header. So navigation, parent category, so this is in characters. Preferences, what am I doing that? Save changes, view. This, as you can see, here's the header. Ryu. Well, student. Yeah, this was the breadcrumbs thing with the Tyrian characters, right? So, you know, finding all the different pieces. Yeah, as I was saying, this is my world, so I will in here need to add a picture of Ryu, and I'll probably put it here above this information, or maybe below it, but that I'll work on, or I'll get Avalon to work on, which is she does a lot of my pictures at some point before the end of December. So yeah, if I go through, so I have a few characters on at the moment. For summer camp, I did a few of them. But yeah, this is the homepage for my world, Turian. Yeah, their years are different to our years, so because they have 6 races, that kind of denotes like all the things like different festivals and timings and stuff like that. So every day still is 24 hours, but there's only 6 days in a week, there's 6 weeks in a month, and 6 months in a year. So I think that's 206 or 16 days in a year. Also, they don't have a solar system like we do, so there's no like celestial bodies like suns and stars and stuff. They basically live in between these 2 giant magic discs. So that's interesting, I guess. Yeah, so Prey Month is basically referencing to the, I think, fairies. Hold on, I actually have. Yeah, so days of the week. Because why not name them all? I've got Prey Day, All Day, Toil Day, Analyze Day, Strong Day, Will Day, which effectively is referencing fairies. humans, no, what are words? Nymphs, I think. So fairies, nymphs, elves, humans, beastkin, and mermaids. So pre-month is basically the first month of the year. And so there's a fairy festival within the first month of the year. Year 54 of the Century of the Nymphs. So every cycle, it says 26 cycles, so every cycle has 100 years to each 6 race types. So there's 6 centuries to one cycle. And they go through the cycle of the fairy, of the nymph, of the elf, of the human, of the beastkin, of the mermaid. So, yeah. So basically, if you want to find out what year it is, it's 26 times 600, no, 25 times 600 plus 100 plus 54. Because I make things complicated sometimes when they don't even have to be, but that happens. Surface realm of plain and hill. Yeah, so surface realm built of plains and hills where humans, monsters, and beast people reside. Oh, monsters. Yeah, so there's technically only one monster, which is harpies. I still need to change that to beastkin instead of beast people, but anyways. The forest realm, so I've changed it, so it's not the surface realm, but yeah, I need to change this. Okay. So the forest realm is now just called the Great Forest. The surface realm, it was basically just talking about this middle bit in Tyrion, which is the plains. The earthen realm, so there's basically the place called the Underground, which is just, it's underground. And then the ocean is where the mermaids live. So dwarves, oh my goodness, it's been a long time since I updated this because demons do not exist. They are dark elves, but they're still elves, they just have dark skin, and there's a couple of differences, but they're a branch of elves. So yeah, I need to change that. Anyways, so just quickly showing my timeline. You can see Tyrion's creation, First Major War, dwarves and dark elves become sub-races, and that's something to do with Magic Moth, which has been fun to write about. Second Major War, Third Major War, birthday story. Okay, yeah, so I started a couple years ago at like shared story with a few other people in my race, in my world. I went a little bit crazy with it, and I don't think anyone understood where I was going. So, you know, lots of things learnt from that. But I figured out a few things from the world from that, so it was pretty fun in the end. Yeah, another couple of wars, and then the incident. So this is the thing that sparks off. Basically, that's where they found out that fairies were being experimented and killed, as well as human orphans. And the current hero, who is childhood friends with my teacher, and the teacher is the main character of my story, so if I keep going back to her, that's because she's the main character. Yeah, so Ryu was just one of the students. So all races classrooms start, so this is where the story starts, basically. Okay, so it's been 15,000 years. And then Athletics Day, so my first kind of, I guess, book one is essentially the first 2 weeks where they're at school, and they have Athletics Day at the start. Because in Australia, normally it's a swimming carnival that's within like the first 2 weeks, but they don't have a swimming carnival here, so that is replaced with Athletics Day. Yeah, I have when the Six Major War is, though that happens after the story, and some of the characters won't be alive then. Some of them will, because some of them have quite long lives. Some of them have relatively long lives. I'm kind of one of those people that sort of start, I'm very much pantser, but I kind of start with an idea, I sort of go with it, and then to keep going I have to like work out what the creation of the world is, and then how the world's going to die, and bits in between, so I haven't continued this timeline because it's not really necessary, but I have an idea of it. I probably will continue it at some point. Oh yeah, this one. Click worlds. No, wait, map. What have I done with my map? I want to redo the map, but this was a couple of different. I like the shape of it. The shape's gonna stay the same. I'm not sure if I want to like print it out and draw on this. Just hand draw myself because that's just kind of fun, but it does take time, so I need to fix up all these things because they are. Why are there two of the Cantina tribe? I don't know where that is. That should be dragon. Okay, yeah, anyways, I need to fix a lot of that, but that's kind of the basic shape. So in the middle is mid-city, and this is where the story takes place. So that's currently where Ryu is. Normally Ryu lives around here. That should not be the Cantina tribe, that should be the Dragon King Royal Mountain. So North City, it is a human town, but there are a lot of beastkin there because beastkin kind of mostly live around this area in sort of little villages. So East City is where my teacher, Miss Charles, she grew up. South City, so most of the mermaids live down south, so they often trade with South City. But there is a small group of mermaids, the Northern Warrior mermaids, who live up there. West City is right next to the underground. So West City is humans, but the underground is dwarves and dark elves. The density is where the fairies live. Yeah, and the elves live up the top, so kind of this whole section is the Great Forest. This section is the plains. This section is the wastelands, but there's kind of a swamp area down here, so the frogkin and snakekin live down here. There's sort of a few mountains. This area is desert, and then this area used to be Badlands, but it's basically been smushed by a bunch of wars, so it's just now wastelands. So that is kind of my world at the moment. And yeah, and so that was my thing on Ray. There was a bit less of the synesthesia stuff, but I guess I have written a blog post on my synesthesia a while ago, so it references in my blog post, it references a different story, which I have not continued with because this one was more interesting. I may go back to it, but not. I had an original plan for like 3 stories, but I might just do the 3rd one because that's coming from a different world perspective. I might just leave it. It was fun while I was doing it. It lasted me through a few NaNoWriMos. I learned a lot about how I write, but at the moment it's not really going to get me anywhere, whereas this story, because I'm trying to do it as a web novel, I'm still keeping myself entertained and learning lots and getting things done slowly, but getting there, so it's good fun. Okay, there was one thing that I needed to edit, which I think in navigation. One other cool thing about this is because I've also, so not just on Wattpad, but I've been adding this, so I have a manuscript on here. So what I can do is when I find it, I think it's in sections, is associated manuscript. So my story, that Ryu relates to, who is a student of, is Adventures of a Magical Teacher. And that means I can write this here. At this, so at the bottom of the section, the sidebar sections, associated manuscripts, I put that there, which means if I save that, preview, oh no, view, that's what I'm looking for. And so you can see under here in the title going, as seen in Adventures of a Magical Teacher. And you can click that and you go to my story. Woohoo! Yes, as you can see, chapter 1. So it's fun. I need to finish editing chapter 2. I will get there. I am slowly going through it, so progress is happening. And at that, safe travels everyone, good time zones, have a good day. I will be ending the stream now. Enjoy.